India is a land of colors and fabrics. Fabrics play an important role here. It's intrinsic to the culture. We have been using fabrics in so many innovative ways. But have you ever thought of collage with fabric? Use of fabric as an art piece? We have with us Dr. Fadke, who is creating wonderful art pieces with fabric collage. Let's explore more about his work. Hi, I'm Bunla from SelectArt.in, and I bring to you the Artist of the Month, Dr. Dattatreya Fadke. Dr. Fadke's art is very unique, and very few artists in the world are creating this unique art. Now, he speaks about his inspiration.
Childhood, I've been doing some form of art, like some drawing, sketches, greeting cards, etc. And most of the time I would do these for friends and family, especially on special occasions. But then later, when I went into medical school, it sort of took a backseat because obviously, medical school, you're involved in, all these studies, and it's a really long process. And firstly, I need to thank my mother because she was really encouraging, and she also does quite a lot of art, especially stitching and knitting, etc. So there is some sort of in the family that art is there. Like my mother, my grandmother, and my other aunts as well. So they do some form of art, and they all were involved in fabric. So from a young age, I also sort of, had this fabric in mind. But then later, when I went to the US, I did attend a lot of, art shows. They really have such beautiful art shows over there. And you get to see such varied and creative work from different artists from all around the world. And so there are some ladies who were showcasing their art quilts over there. And so at one of the show in Michigan, I went there, and this lady had done these beautiful, landscape quilts. So I was just talking to her, and then she said, "Oh, I do this, and then I get these different textured scraps of fabric, etc." And she said, "But then I top sew on it." I said, "Oh, I don't know how to sew." So I said, "Well, maybe I should think about something how I can incorporate this fabric." So at that time, I had some little pieces of fabric which my wife had in her closet. I just tried to pick some scraps, and then I made a small little artwork from that. And it was a really de-stressor for me because at that time my father was visiting and he was not keeping well. And so it sort of made us de-stress from whatever he was going through. And I just fell in love with this sort of form of art, the fabric. And since then, I've started doing this fabric collage. So slowly and slowly, I got better. And it was really nice that it was appreciated everywhere.
Basically, now you said that you started it probably when you were in America, when you were at Michigan, then you got
Right.
inspired and you did that. So you must have had a lot of pieces. Which is the one that you're most attached to? Like, what is that that has the memories? And I mean, you
Yeah.
have something
No,
very close, right?
right. There were some which I really am close to. And I can give you an incident that when I was in a place called Novi in Michigan, I had joined this Novi Art Center, and they had this little art booth. So they said all the members of the art center can participate and showcase their artwork. So I had just started actually doing my fabric collages, and I just had about 3 or 4 pieces which I showcased. And there was one or two which I had simultaneously showcased at another art exhibition. So it was my first piece which got actually sold during that art show. And I was just super excited that, somebody actually bought my fabric collage. Obviously, I was not, I was a little sad that I'm parting away with my collage, but at the same time, it gave me real joy that some person is really appreciating my art and wants to buy my artwork. And at the same time, as I said, one of my pieces at the other show actually won Best of Show. And I was just so thrilled that, I just didn't know what to say because it was sort of a new art form that I was actually indulging into. And it actually, won a prize. And I can show you, I've still kept it. I don't want to part with it. And this is
Beautiful.
and we did have actually spent some time in Costa Rica just on a holiday where I'd taken a lot of pictures, and that had actually inspired me to do it. So that was actually the first piece which had won the prize. So I didn't want to part with it. Same, there's another one called as Winter Morning, and people were really amazed at how I got these shadows of the trees onto the snow. And this was a typical winter morning in Michigan. And the sun was actually it was sunrise, and it was actually casting the shadows of the trees onto the snow. This was actually a small pond which was just full of snow and ice. And that's where, so I didn't part with this. So these are two of them which are really close to me.
Dr. Farke, this is Hemant here. I notice one common theme running through your artworks, and that's nature. It emerges as the central figure in your artworks in form of, say, be it birds or flowers or trees or even the landscape. Therefore, my question to you is, what draws you to nature? And why don't we see any human beings or man-made objects in your artworks?
Most of my collages are actually of landscapes and florals, and so these are all, most of them are like photos which I have taken during our travel. And I try to sort of create sort of fabric collage, and it's not trying to recreate that particular photo, but it's trying to get back those memories, and so that I just have a image which is, at least it brings back those lovely memories of all the travel which I've done. And maybe I'm a little shy of trying to sort of go into portraits, or I have done a few animals and birds, because again that's part of nature. So I've seen all these birds and animals in various parts of the world, and I've tried to recreate them. So one is actually at the back here. I don't know whether you can see it. There's one here with all the finches. There were very colorful finches, which again is from Costa Rica, where we had gone. So maybe I'm a little sort of very used to all these nature photographs, and it's my wish that I can, do a portrait, but somehow I'm not yet comfortable, I must say, to do that.
We just heard about his inspiration. Next, look out for meeting the person behind the artist.